Novitas Solutions, a CMS contractor, welcomes you to the On-Demand Education Series. This on-demand tutorial is a general summary that explains certain aspects of the Medicare program, but it is not a legal document. The official Medicare program provisions are contained in the relevant laws, regulations, and rulings. The information enclosed was current at the time it was presented. Medicare policy changes frequently. Links to the source documents have been provided within the document for your reference. This presentation was prepared as a tool to assist providers and is not intended to grant rights or impose obligations. Throughout this module, you will see a citation number behind certain elements of information as shown in the example below. This citation number coincides with the transcript document positioned next to the Play Now icon you selected on the Training Videos Click and Play page on the Novitas Solutions website. The citation and associated hyperlink to the resource described in the module will be found on the transcript under footnotes for each slide.
Novitas Solutions On-Demand Education Series presents Return of Monies to Medicare Form, Part B. Return of Monies to Medicare Form Overview. Medicare Overpayments Definition. Medicare overpayments occur when a provider has received more than the amount allowed payable under Medicare statute and regulations. A voluntary or unsolicited refund is made to Medicare when a provider has discovered an error which resulted in an overpayment. A solicited refund is an overpayment discovered by the MAC, which, when identified, leads to a claim adjustment. This will create a receivable account, which will issue a demand letter requesting repayment. Examples of overpayments include, but are not limited to, the following. Payment exceeds the reasonable charge for the service. Duplicate payments for the same service or services. Incorrect provider payee. Incorrect claim assignment resulting in incorrect payee. Payment for non-covered medically unnecessary services. Services not actually rendered. Payment made by a primary insurance. Audit which deems the services to not be medically necessary. Or claims processing department may identify an overpayment while processing subsequent claims. We have created an overpayments page on the Novitas Solutions website to assist with questions. Return of Monies to Medicare Form Purpose. To facilitate a prompt and accurate credit of unsolicited monies or voluntary refunds to Medicare, we developed a Return of Monies to Medicare form. Please use this form if you receive a Medicare payment in error and are returning money via a voluntary or unsolicited refund. Remember to complete the form in its entirety and send payment with a paper check. Please do not use this form when making a payment in response to an overpayment demand letter, as it is only for a voluntary or unsolicited refund. Completion of the Return of Monies to Medicare form. Locating the Return of Monies to Medicare form. The Return of Monies to Medicare form can be found by accessing the Novitas Solutions website at www.novitas-solutions.com. Once you select your correct jurisdiction, you will use the Forms Catalog option on the left side toolbar. Once you navigate to the Forms Catalog landing page, you will scroll to the portion of the page titled Financial and Overpayment Refund Forms. Select the Return of Monies to Medicare, Part B 8322, which is the last form within this table. Please ensure you are using the most up-to-date form to avoid a delay or rejection of your submission. Return of Monies to Medicare form, Step 1. The first step on the Return of Monies to Medicare form requires the following fields to be completed. Provider or other entity name. Enter the full name of the provider who billed the service for which money is being voluntarily returned. For today's example, we will add provider name. Address. Enter the address of the provider who billed the service for which money is being voluntarily returned. For today's example, we will add street address. State. Use the drop-down to select the appropriate state in which the services were rendered. For today's example, we will add PA. Provider number. The Provider Transaction Access Number, or PTAN, is a 6 to 10-digit number assigned to the provider who billed the service for which money is being voluntarily returned. For today's example, we will add PTAN. NPI number. The National Provider Identifier, or NPI, is a 10-digit number assigned to the provider who billed the service for which money is being voluntarily returned. For today's example, we will add NPI. Contact person. Enter the name of a person to contact if additional information is required. For today's example, we will add contact name. Tax ID number. The tax identification number, or TIN, for the provider who billed the service for which money is being voluntarily returned. For today's example, we will add TIN. Contact person phone number. Enter the telephone number of the contact person if additional information is required. For today's example, we will add X's for the telephone number with an extension. Amount returned. Enter the total amount of money listed on the voluntary refund check, including dollars and cents. For today's example, we will add dollar amount. Check number. Enter the check number for the voluntary refund check. For today's example, we will add pound signs. Return of Monies to Medicare Form, Step 2. Step number 2 on the Return of Monies to Medicare form requires the following fields to be completed. Required information. If returning multiple claims, indicate yes in drop-down box provided. If refunding multiple claims, you can list all claim numbers and the required data on a separate attachment. You can add comments such as see attached document in additional info field. For today's example, we will leave blank. Patient name. Enter the full name of patient as it appears on the Medicare card listed on the claim for which money is being voluntarily returned. For today's example, we will add first and last name. Medicare ID number. Enter the Medicare Beneficiary Identification Number, or MBI, listed on the claim for which money is being voluntarily returned. For today's example, we will add MBI. Claim number. Enter the claim number for which money is being voluntarily returned. For today's example, we will add claim number. Claim amount refunded. Enter the amount voluntarily returned for specific claim listed. For today's example, we will add dollar amount. Date of service from. Enter the date services started for the specific claim listed. For today's example, we will add DOS. Date of service to. Enter the date services ended for the specific claim listed. Keep in mind, this may be the same date the services started. For today's example, we will add DOS. Reason code for claim adjustment. Select the appropriate reason code that best applies to the reason for overpayment or return of monies by using the drop-down list. These include 01, corrected date of service. Date is required. 02, duplicate. 03, corrected CPT code. Correct CPT code is required. 04, not our patient. 05, modifier add or remove. 06, billed in error. 07, MSP Group Health Plan Insurance. 08, MSP No Fault Insurance, date of incident required. 09, MSP Liability Insurance, date of incident required. 10, MSP Workers' Comp, including black lung, date of incident required. 11, Veterans Administration. 12, insufficient data. 13, patient enrolled HMO, 14, services not rendered, 15, medical necessity, 16, hospice, and 17, other. Please specify description required. Claim billed amount. Enter the original billed amount for a specific claim listed. For today's example, we will add dollar amount. Additional information field. This field is to be used to add a narrative when you select reason codes 01, 03, 08, 09, 10, or 17 from the drop-down list. Return of monies to Medicare form, Step 3. Step number 3 requires you to select yes or no to the 2 questions listed for OIG reporting requirements. Question number 1. Do you have a corporate integrity agreement with OIG? These are agreements made with healthcare providers as part of the settlement of federal healthcare program investigations. Providers are supposed to advise the Medicare contractor of this when sending in a voluntary refund. For today's example, we will select no. Question number 2. Are you a participant in the OIG self-disclosure protocol? A self-disclosure protocol was created for providers or suppliers to voluntarily disclose self-discovered evidence of potential fraud. If this occurs, the OIG will respond with a letter to the provider as well as to the Medicare contractor. For today's example, we will select no. Return of monies to Medicare form, Step 4. Step number 4 only needs to be completed if you selected a Medicare secondary payer MSP option in the drop-down list with one of the reason codes 08, 09, or 10. The following fields must be completed. Insurance company name. Enter the name of the insurance company that should have paid as primary. For today's example, we will add Insurance A. Subscriber name. Enter the name of the subscriber to the insurance that should have paid as primary. For today's example, we will add spouse name. Insurer address. Enter the address of the insurance company that should have paid as primary. For today's example, we will add street address. City, state, zip. Enter the city, state, zip code of the insurance company that should have paid as primary. For today's example, we will add city, PA, and zip code. Telephone number. Enter the telephone number of insurance company that should have paid as primary. For today's example, we will add 1-888-XXX-XXXX. Employer name. Enter the name of the employer that provided the primary insurance. For today's example, we will add company C. Employer address. Enter the address of the employer that provided the primary insurance. For today's example, we will add street address. City, state, zip. Enter the city, state, and zip code of the employer that provided the primary insurance. For today's example, we will add city, PA, and zip code. Policy number. Enter the policy number of the insurance that should have paid as primary. For today's example, we will add policy number. Telephone number. Enter the telephone number of the employer that provides the primary insurance. For today's example, we will add X's for the telephone number. High volume spreadsheet. If you are voluntarily refunding a high volume of claims, 100 or more, please use our voluntary refund spreadsheet. You can save the completed Excel spreadsheet to a CD or USB drive and mail it with your check to the appropriate address located at the top of the Return of Monies form. Be sure to include a cover sheet with the password, or you can supply a contact person who Novitas can call to retrieve the password when the CD or USB drive is protected. High volume spreadsheet step 1. In step number 1, or the top portion of the spreadsheet, you will notice that the information is matching to what needs to be completed on the Return of Monies to Medicare form. Please complete the following information. Select Part A or Part B. Today we will select Part B. Provider Transaction Access Number, or PTAN, National Provider Identifier, or NPI, check number, provider contact name and phone number, overpayment amount, check date, number of claims in refund, tax ID number or TIN. Let's add some details to show for examples today. High volume spreadsheet step 2. In step number 2, or the bottom portion of the spreadsheet, you will need to complete the required information marked with a double asterisk. For today's example, we have separated the line item details to expand the size to review each field. But when you look at the form online, it will be a continuous line across the page. Claim number, patient's Medicare Beneficiary ID number or MBI, patient name, from date of service or DOS, to date of service or DOS, billing provider number or PTAN, CIA/OIG, select yes or no, procedure code, modifier if appropriate, units billed, correct number of units, billed amount, paid amount being refunded, MSP reason if appropriate, reason for overpayment. Let's add some details to show for examples today. Refund payment reminder. Before you close the envelope, do not forget to include a paper check when sending a voluntary or unsolicited refund to Medicare. This payment option is required when sending the Return of Monies to Medicare form or if using the high volume spreadsheet. Insert Medicare Part B in the Pay to the Order of line of the check. Let's add some details to show for examples today. Submission of the Return of Monies to Medicare form. Post office boxes for JL. If you are rendering services in jurisdiction L, you can use the addresses listed below to submit the form and check to Novitas. Keep in mind you will substitute the X with the appropriate PO box and extended 4-digit zip codes listed. You will use Novitas Solutions, Medicare Part B, Attention Cashier, PO Box XXXX, Mechanicsburg, PA 17055-XXXX. For the states of Delaware and District of Columbia, use PO Box 3405 and the extended 4-digit zip code 1848. For the state of Maryland, use PO Box 3404 and the extended 4-digit zip code 1847. For the state of New Jersey, use PO Box 3034 and the extended 4-digit zip code 1805. And for the state of Pennsylvania, use PO Box 3304 and the extended 4-digit zip code 1838. Post office boxes for JH. If you're rendering services in jurisdiction H, you can use the addresses listed below to submit the form and check to Novitas. Keep in mind you will substitute the X with the appropriate PO box and extended 4-digit zip codes listed. You will use Novitas Solutions, Medicare Part B, Attention Cashier, PO Box XXXX, Mechanicsburg, PA 17055-XXXX. For the state of Arkansas, use PO Box 3091 and the extended 4-digit zip code 1809. For the states of Colorado, New Mexico, and Oklahoma, use PO Box 3105 and the extended 4-digit zip code 1821. For the state of Louisiana, use PO Box 3090 and the extended 4-digit zip code 1808. For the state of Mississippi, use PO Box 3128 and the extended 4-digit zip code 1833. For the state of Texas, use PO Box 3106 and the extended 4-digit zip code 1822. If you wish to send the documents via priority mail or with a commercial carrier, you can use the physical or street address of Novitas Solutions, attention Medicare Part B cashier, 2020 Technology Parkway, Suite 100, Mechanicsburg, PA 17050.
Thank you for attending. We encourage you to visit our website, www.novitas-solutions.com, to access additional resources and participate in our educational events. Visit our education and training page to access the most current Medicare education.